He visited me sporadically, in different seasons, always for the same reason, but I didn't always feel the same way about it. Sometimes he'd call in advance and let me know he was coming. Other times, he'd leave it to chance and arrive unannounced. But when he thought I'd forgotten him, he'd slip in through the back door, creep into my sanctuary, run his misty fingers over my most precious. He didn't pause until he found the bold gift that had sat just long enough to be mistaken for a promise. Snatch it and disappear, leaving me alone in the vacuum silence from which he had stolen. Secretly, in full view of the world, because he is invisible to everyone until he unfolds his fists to caress their existences. He showed me his power. That's when I came to comprehend that as much as I desired many things, none of it was designed to set fire to my feelings like he did, while simultaneously extinguishing all drive and enthusiasm for life, but keeping it to be reheated like yesterday's dinner. Rendezvous with him meant you'd never be a winner, because then dawn tastes different after he leaves. And we know this, but it doesn't matter, because he shattered the one thing we should all humbly hope for, but always arrogantly take for granted. A few days earlier, I was thinking about visiting my auntie, so when Uncle phoned, I answered. But he just called to say, "Today, your first cousin died at 23 in the hospital this morning." See, now telling me late at night made me cry like I hadn't in years, and I finally discovered what it was to be in mourning. It made me wander the streets just to keep from being home and facing reality, knowing I'd have to wake the next day to carry on with a degree of normality. I didn't want the night to end because it would mean moving on, and I weren't ready yet. My equilibrium wasn't steady yet. But the sun rose, and with it I left what was left of my grief in the shadows of yesterday's sunset. And now, every day that passes, I discover I hadn't disregarded it, and no matter how hard I thought I was, how well I had no matter how hard I was, no matter how well I thought I had guarded it, my heart was sharded, it was inevitable. I feel the reactions I hadn't processed yet show themselves in unconventional outlets, demanding attention like outstanding debts. I wake up frustrated beyond understanding. Some days I have to lock myself up in my own mind and fight, because I feel unfamiliar in my own skin. Discern things trying to ooze out like caged ghouls, making my face break out, hair fall out, flesh pushed out, whilst I struggle to hold it all in. Like an overflowing waste bin, I try to push it back down to create more space, but it needs to be emptied, and I can't just dump it and refuel like a car low on petrol. I can't just pump it out, I have to take it apart like a broken electrical device. Understand the components, study, maybe take some advice, I don't know, because it's only been some months since Pops died. And death gives people automatic immunity like a diplomat. So even if I knew how I felt, I could have vocalized. I just have to kick back and sip on that flood of lunacy, this constant underlying current controlled by and through the moon. You see this nakedness and vulnerability that doesn't require a warrant, just a trigger to show the walls inside of my prison. The memories and scars that stop me from forgiving but are no use to me as I'm still living. Knowing we'll be resurrected through the bloodlines of our children. I pray for guidance, acceptance and wisdom. Because it was my blood on the kitchen floor draining out of my sister's system. And it really does give you a jolt like a bolt of lightning, flash vision burning into retinue darkness as it clicks and I clock the noose of time is tightening. And though it feels like the might of your will is loosening, the prospect of losing your life is frightening. So I'm fighting and biting my tongue, trying to keep track of consciousness as a physical manifestation and use it as motivation. Except it seems it seeps out in unprecedented anger on occasion. Except it's more than occasionally. It's an everyday equation. Just the other day I flipped out on an unexpected occasion. See, I know I've always had a temper, but I very rarely lose it. So I know that I carry let loose and use it. But upon reflection, I realised I didn't like the way I behaved, so I apologised and tried to explain. I'm sorry. I was just overreacting. Now all I can do is hope you forgave. And by not acting brave, I realised. And by not acting brave, I was enlightened. I didn't let ego get in the way of doing what was right, and humility and sincere remorse showed me an insight. I'm glad I could rectify my mistakes straight away because karma has a way of meeting out repercussions without explanations, meetings or prolonged discussions. It taught me to pace my pain, not ignore its reach. And these last few have been hard because I've lost a lot of people, but I've got to get up and stand like a steeple because I'm someone else's strength, so how can I be feeble? And I'm someone's inspiration, so it's got to be cerebral. So now I'm just trying to take each day as it comes, in the crumbs of gift of brains trapped in glass. That is poignant for its duality and confinement and vast, and in its very structure holds great symbolism and signs. To remind myself to embrace, enjoy, and take ownership of each moment and emotion that's mine.
We are going last. The best thing that anybody's ever said about your work? And she said, they said that I don't just speak my poetry, I am my poetry.
Yes.
That's true.